Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. Today we are again reading out of the Bible. I am using a translation called the Scriptures. Feel free to use whichever translation you have. Or if you'd like to follow along but you don't have one of these, I will leave a link below that actually includes a copy of the Scriptures. So no excuses. Grab your coffee, grab your Bible, and let's read. Today we are starting in Deuteronomy chapter 19. When Yahweh your Elohim cuts off the nations whose land Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, separate 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. Prepare a way for yourself and divide into 3 parts the border of your land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to inherit, that any manslayer shall flee there. In this matter of the manslayer who flees there and lives, he who strikes his neighbor unknowingly, not having hated him in time past, even he who goes to the forest with his neighbor to cut timber, and his hand swings a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, let him flee to one of these cities and live. Lest the Redeemer of blood, while his displeasure is hot, pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long and shall strike his being, though he was not worthy of death, since he had not hated him before. Therefore I am commanding you, saying, separate 3 cities for yourself. And if Yahweh your Elohim enlarges your border, as he swore to your fathers, and has given you the land which he promised to give to your fathers, when you guard all this command to do it, which I am commanding you today, to love Yahweh your Elohim and to walk in his ways all the days, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3, so that innocent blood is not shed in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance, or blood guilt shall be upon you. But when anyone hates his neighbor, and shall lie in wait for him, and rise against him, and strike his being, so that he dies, then he shall flee to one of these cities. And the elders of the city shall send and bring him from there, and give him into the hand of the Redeemer of blood, and he shall die. Your eye shall not pardon him, but you shall purge the blood of the innocent from Israel, so that it might be well with you. Do not remove your neighbor's boundary, which those in the past have set in your inheritance, which you inherit in the land that Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. 1 witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, a matter is established. When a malicious witness rises up against any man to accuse him of turning aside, then both men who have the dispute shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges who serve in those days. And the judges shall diligently search and see if a witness is a false witness, who has falsely accused his brother. Then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. And let the rest hear and fear, and never again do this evil matter in your midst. And let your eye not pardon, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So that is a quick retelling of the sanctuary cities. Lots of retelling in Deuteronomy. Chapter 20. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and shall see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them. For Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim, is with you. And it shall be, when you draw near to the battle, that the priest shall come and speak to the people, and shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are drawing near today to battle with your enemies. Do not let your heart faint. Do not fear or tremble or be afraid before them. For Yahweh your Elohim is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak to the people, saying, Who is the man who has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. And who is the man who has planted a vineyard and has not begun to use it? Let him also go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man should begin to use it. And who is the man who is engaged to a woman and has not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further to the people and say, who is the man who is afraid and tender of heart? Let him go and return to his house, lest his heart of his brothers faint like his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have finished speaking to the people, that they shall appoint commanders of the divisions to lead the people. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, then you shall make a call for peace to it. And it shall be that if it accepts your call for peace and shall open to you, then all the people found in it are to be your compulsory labor and serve you. But if it does not make peace with you and shall fight against you, then you shall besiege it. And Yahweh your Elohim shall give it into your hands, and you shall strike every male in it with the edge of the sword. Only women and the little ones and the livestock and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you take as plunder for yourself. And you shall eat the enemy's plunder, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you. Do so to all the cities which are very far from you, which are not of the cities of these nations. Only of the cities of these peoples, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you as an inheritance, you do not keep alive any that breathe, but you shall certainly put them under the ban. The Hittite and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite, and the Hivite and the Jebusite, as Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you, lest they teach you to do according to all their abominations, which they have done for their mighty ones, and you sin against Yahweh your Elohim. When you besiege a city for a long time by fighting against it to take it, you do not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. If you do eat of them, do not cut them down. For is the tree of the field a man to be besieged by you? Only the trees which you know are not trees for food you do destroy and cut down, to build siege works against the city that is fighting against you until it falls. Interesting. So trees that you know that are used for food, you leave, and the rest cut down. Also like the provision of certain people not called to fight, or at least not at that time. Chapter 21. When anyone is found slain, lying in the field in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess, and it is not known who struck him, then your elders and your judges shall go out, and they shall measure the distance from the slain man to the cities round about. And it shall be that the elders of the city nearest to the slain man shall take a heifer which has not been worked and which has not pulled with a yoke, and the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a wadi with flowing water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and they shall break the heifer's neck there in the wadi. And the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for Yahweh your Elohim has chosen them to serve him and to bless in the name of Yahweh. And by their mouth every strife and every stroke is tried. And let all the elders of that city nearest to the slain man wash their hands over the heifer, whose neck was broken in the wadi. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, nor have our eyes seen it. O Yahweh, forgive your people Israel, whom you have ransomed, and do not allow innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel. And the blood guilt shall be pardoned to them. Thus you purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst when you do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh. When you go out to fight against your enemies, and Yahweh your Elohim shall give them into your hand, and you shall take them captive, and see among the captives a woman fair of form, and shall delight in her, and take her for your wife. Then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head, and trim her nails, and put aside the mantle of her captivity, and shall dwell in your house, and mourn her father and her mother a month of days. And after that you shall go in to her, and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you are not pleased with her, that you shall let her go at her desire. But you do not sell her at all for silver. Do not treat her harshly, since you have humbled her. When a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and the unloved, and the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, then it shall be on the day he makes his sons to inherit his possessions, he is not allowed to treat the son of the beloved wife as firstborn in the face of the son of the unloved, who is truly the firstborn. But he is to acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. When a man has a wayward and rebellious son who is not listening to the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and who, when they have disciplined him, does not listen to them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of the city, to the gate of his city, and shall say to the elders of his city, This son of ours is wayward and rebellious. He is not listening to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death with stones. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. And let all Israel hear and fear. And when a man has committed a sin worthy of death, then he shall be put to death, and you shall hang him on a tree. Let his body not remain overnight on the tree, for you shall certainly bury him the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of Elohim, so that you do not defile the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. Well, that is the end of the reading for today. This one's a little extra during the week since I put out a garden video on Saturday. This one you get extra. There'll be another one. There'll be another Bible reading on Saturday. So thanks for coming along with me. I hope you join us again. May the Father bless you. Shalom.